Today we'll see how to use and form direct object pronouns in Spanish. Remember how subject pronouns can replace what does the action in a sentence? We've already studied, in lessons 1 and 2, how, for example, in this sentence, Maria reads the book, the action is reading, and since out of the two nouns in the sentence, Maria is the one doing that, she's the subject, and her name can be replaced by she, which is a subject pronoun. But just because the book isn't doing anything in this sentence doesn't mean it can't be replaced by a pronoun. The book is the direct object, and if we don't want to repeat the same word multiple times, like Maria reads the book, but she also likes the book and bought the book at the store, we can replace the book with an object pronoun, in this case, the word it. Since the book is the object, it is the object pronoun. In English, the direct object pronouns are these words. You can already tell why it's important to know the difference between subject and object pronouns. While there are some similarities, like the second person singular, third person singular, and second person plural, they aren't interchangeable. It doesn't make sense to say me like you or he likes I, because in that case you're treating subjects like objects and vice versa. Well, the same is true in Spanish. These are the direct object pronoun choices in Spanish. They're pronounced me, te, lo, la, nos, os, los, and las. When it comes to using them, there are 2 steps to follow. Number 1, match the noun with the pronoun, and number 2, find the right placement. So let's start with selecting the correct pronoun. It all depends on the noun you're replacing. In our example, Maria reads the book. The Spanish structure is pretty similar to English. Maria lee el libro. The direct object we are replacing is el libro. We can tell that that is third person, singular, and masculine. When we review our direct object pronoun chart, there's only one that fits that combination. Third person singular is lo or la, and the masculine one is lo. So that's our only option for the pronoun, lo. That gives us Maria lee lo, and sadly, this doesn't make sense yet. We still need to fix the placement. The rule for object pronoun placement in Spanish is they can go either before a conjugated verb or attached to an infinitive, present participle, or affirmative command. See the description if you don't know or remember what these are. This rule is super important, so definitely write it down. So let's place this pronoun. This sentence is very basic. We don't have much of a choice. Lee is a conjugated verb, and there is no infinitive or present participle or command, so according to our rule, when it comes to conjugated verbs, the direct object pronoun goes before it. So let's move it. Maria lo lee. This sentence now translates to Maria reads it, with it referring to something singular and masculine, like book. So let's do another one, this time with more moving parts. George wants to buy the plants. In Spanish, this is Jorge quiere comprar las plantas. What is the object in this sentence? What is receiving the action? Well, the action is the verb, and there are 2 verbs here, wants, quiere, and to buy, comprar. One is conjugated and one is in the infinitive. Again, if you forgot what conjugations and infinitives are, check out the Lesson 3 video. But the plants aren't wanting or buying anything, George is. The plants are being wanted or bought, therefore George is the subject, which leaves las plantas as the object. Once we've identified our direct object, we can replace it with a pronoun if we want. This would be like making the English sentence, he wants to buy them. Las plantas is clearly plural and feminine, which means out of our potential pronouns, las fits best. Notice how when we use las this time, it's an object pronoun, not an article, like it was in the first version of this sentence. Okay, step 2, time to place the pronoun correctly. The rule states that it can go either before a conjugated verb or attached to the end of an infinitive or present participle or affirmative command. So which of those are here? Remember, quiere is a conjugated verb and comprar is an infinitive. That means las can go in one of 2 places, either before quiere or attached to comprar. The only difference between these 2 options is stylistic. There's no difference in the meaning. So, Jorge las quiere comprar or Jorge quiere comprarlas mean the same thing in English. George wants to buy them, with them referring to something plural and feminine, like in this case, plants. You can choose either one. Again, they mean the same thing, but be prepared to hear both versions as a listener, regardless of your choice. Don't forget that the second option requires no space between the infinitive and the direct object pronoun. Let's try with present participles. Let's use the same example from earlier in different forms. María está leyendo el libro. El libro becomes lo, which can then be moved before the conjugated verb está or attached to the present participle, leyéndolo. Notice that if we take the second option, we add an accent to the second E in order to preserve the original pronunciation. Again, these both mean the same thing. Maria is reading it. So what about commands? Well, George wants to buy those plants. Let's command him to do so. Let's tell him, buy them. The command buy for the informal you, let's assume George is our friend and we're on a first name basis with him, is compra. When it comes to commands, the rule states that direct object pronouns should be attached to the end of them. That gives us cómpralas when we add the accent to preserve the original stress. There's more to the story here, but it involves knowledge of all command forms like informal, formal, affirmative, negative, and that's not the focus of this video, so we'll save it for later. So let's practice. In the following sentences, identify the direct objects, then replace them with pronouns, and finally, rearrange the sentence to follow the placement rules. You might want to pause the video here. And here come the answers. How did you do? So that's it for direct object pronouns in Spanish. You can find more language learning resources and videos like this one at lingolearner.com.